Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Ashtotarita Shishimad Abhai Charanada Vindam Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Iskan BBT Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navadi Dham Ki Jai Gangamaya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagna Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Egadim Yad Kripa Taraham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So I want to thank you all for coming here this evening. We're just completing our Bhadra Purnima Srimad Bhagavatam set distribution campaign. And, by Krishna's grace, seems like a lot of sets went out. I understand from Nautam Priya, that everyone here more or less distributed at least one set. Is that right? Really? That's fantastic. So you're all going back home, back to Godhead. Oh. But that doesn't mean you can relax now. You got to keep working for Krishna. Because if you don't work for Krishna, we'll get allured by sense gratification. There's only two things. Satisfy the senses of Krishna, or try to satisfy your own senses. Trying to satisfy our own senses means frustration, ultimate failure, and so many other unwanted situations, right? Trying to satisfy the senses of Krishna means complete success. It means the completion of the purpose of this human form of life is to satisfy Krishna. And that mentality can only be attained by the mercy of Krishna's devotees. That's why association with devotees is so important. It's recommended out of the 64 items of devotional service, there's 5 main ones. And one of those 5 main processes of devotional service is associating with devotees. Of course, the other is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, worshiping the deity, and chanting the holy name, and living in a sacred place, a holy place. Right? So, these are the 5, they call it Panch Anga of devotional service. Very important. These are very powerful processes of devotional service. One can quickly make advancement. Association with devotees. Without that, very difficult to try to appreciate that Krishna is a person. Without having devotees that understand that, you won't be able to, it's kind of like trying to figure out how to become a doctor without having association of another doctor, right? You just from reading the books, you might figure it out, but you might not figure it out. But if you have an internship, you go to the hospital and you learn firsthand how to do an operation, then you can feel confident that, and your patients will feel a lot more confident too. So the temple is like a hospital. Prabhupada called it a hospital. And everyone in the material world is in a diseased condition of life. Everybody's got a disease. It's called the bhavarog. The idea that I'll be happy here in this material world. I'm going to be happy here. I just need my degree, and then I just need my job, and then I just need my baby, Bibi, and then my baby, and then my bungalow, right? I just need, and it's like that forever. There's no end to it, right? It's an illusion. So how to avoid that? How to wake up to the reality? Right? Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev jago, Jeev jago. Wake up, sleeping souls. Right? Wake up to what? Well, wake up that we're an illusion. We're steeped in illusion, thinking that we're this body and that we can enjoy this body somehow or another. That's our illusion. How will we wake up out of, and it's such an all-pervading illusion. I mean, Americans really think they are Americans, and Indians really think they're Indians, and they even go deeper. They think they're Gujarati Indian, or they're Marathi Indian, or it's just, upadhis. But it's very strong. Okay? Family attachment, very strong. Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it came time to fight. He's a Kshatriya, he's there, all the warriors are there. They tried to negotiate peace talks, but it was kind of like the Kashmir issue. It just goes on and on. So finally it came to a head. There was a war there on the battlefield. And then he starts thinking about his cousins and his teacher and his grandpa, and he just breaks down and he can't fight, right? Can't do his duty. So Arjuna, who's Arjuna and who are we? Arjuna is Krishna's friend, and if he becomes overcome by this weakness, what's our position, right? Of course, Arjuna was put in that position so that we could learn by hearing Krishna explaining it to Arjuna about what we're supposed to do and how to do it, so that we could benefit from that conversation in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. But this is the the situation that everyone in the material world's in, they need to come to the hospital, right? The temple is the hospital. It's where you get the medicine. It's where you get the proper diet, right? What's the medicine? Let's all together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And what's the proper diet? Krishna Prashadam. You know, Srila Prabhupada gave us a process for offering prasadam, and it's such an amazing thing that, you know, on our own strength, we couldn't offer anything to Krishna. How could we offer anything? Why should Krishna accept? Right? There's even a statement by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that if you don't chant 64 rounds, Krishna won't eat from your hand. Right? So where are we? Right? We're struggling to do 16 rounds. And we expect Krishna to eat from our hand. But we're on the order of Srila Prabhupada. Right? The pure devotee offering something to Krishna, he'll definitely take it, whatever it is. Right? We have the story about Sanatana Goswami. You know, he was living under one tree, and his deity's Madan Mohan. He used to hang the deity in the tree, go out and beg some chapatis from the Brijvasis and come back and offer it. Right? So the Lord was talking to Sanatana Goswami. He said, hey, every day you're giving me these dry chapatis. Why don't you at least give me some salt? And then Sanatana Goswami said, my Lord, this is all I got. What can I do? I'm old man, you have to take it. So the Lord was taking. Right? The Lord is ready to interact with us, but we're not in a position to interact with Him. We're not purified. We're still in the bodily concept of life. We have all these material attachments, right? So we need an intermediary, right? Somebody who on our behalf tells Krishna, you know, accept this. Otherwise, how it became prasadam, right? Just because you did the whammy on it, it became prasadam. No, it's parampara, right? Someone's interceding on our behalf with Krishna. You accept this. When Srila Prabhupada installed the deities in Australia, you know, he was there for some time. They did the deity installation, but then he had to go, right? So when he was leaving Australia, he prayed to Krishna, you see, I'm leaving you now in their hands. You please enlighten them so that they can take care of you nicely. Right? And so that's kind of our situation. Srila Prabhupada has this intense desire that people come to Krishna consciousness, that they actually develop some love for Krishna. And due to his intense desire, from within our hearts, we're getting some kind of inclination that I should do something for Krishna. Right? Otherwise, we don't really have any kind of sufficient, even pious credits to come to Krishna consciousness. You know, with pious credits, you can make it maybe to the heavenly planets, right? But you have to have a lot of pious credits to be in a situation where you have that adhikari to do devotional service. A lot. But here we are doing devotional service. So how is it? Again, Srila Prabhupada is making our pious credits because he sees some spark. Srila Prabhupada sees a spark of Krishna consciousness within us, and he fans that spark. And when Krishna sees that he's involved in our lives, Krishna becomes involved also. This is the secret of the Krishna consciousness movement, is that it's Srila Prabhupada interacting. So if we want to increase that spark, if we want to turn the spark into more than just a fleeting, for a moment burning cinder that goes out, then we need to do certain things. And one of the primary things we need to do, of course, is study Srila Prabhupada's books, reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And this will solidify our understanding of Krishna consciousness. We'll become more fixed in the philosophy of Krishna. And then the next thing we can do is try to explain that philosophy of Krishna to others. And the best way to do that, of course, is by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. One can very quickly become recognized by Krishna by trying to serve the whole parampara, right? Going all the way back to Krishna by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, because Srila Prabhupada's books, his purports, are the culmination of all the different Vaishnava acharyas, Lord Chaitanya and Krishna himself, in terminology and in language that we can easily understand, right? Anybody here reading Prabhupada's books has a hard time to understand it? Right? No. When you're reading, you're thinking, yes, that's right, that's right. You're not thinking, what did that mean? What did that mean? No, you're not thinking that. It's all so clear. You're thinking, yeah, that's right, that's right, that's right. It all fits together, right? Of course, when we set the book down and our mind goes off into some weird direction, who knows what's going to happen then, right? But that's yoga, to bring the mind back and to have a fixed time for reading, to have a fixed time for rendering some service to Krishna in some way, right? And then gradually, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and by the mercy of Krishna, one can have a continuous feeling of service to Krishna and attachment to Krishna. So this is what we are hoping to obtain in our own lives. And if we take the time to help somebody else, then it will be easier for us. We'll attain the goal quicker, because that pleases Krishna. Radharani, she feels in Vrindavan more happy to see the gopis engage with Krishna than she does even engaging with Krishna herself. And that's the mood of the gopis. They try to make arrangements for Radharani to meet Krishna. They're always helping each other, be with Krishna. So if we have that mood, it's very good. But how to get that mood, and the way to get that mood is through Sankirtan, by going out, distributing the holy name, distributing prasadam, and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. These three methods are the way that we can, in the Harinam Chintamani, it explains that the Ras Leela of Krishna and the gopis descends into the material world in Kali Yuga in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. Now, what does that mean, right? Well, it's going to take a little while to really understand that, but think about it. It's Krishna with his intimate devotees, and they're dancing and chanting. And what is Harinam Sankirtan? It's the devotees that are chanting and dancing, right? Under the order of his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. So it has a kind of magic to it. The last time I was in America, just now, we went out and did Harinam Sankirtan. And it's so amazing to see that, in this one place, there's many restaurants and bars, and there's a lot of people out there. And they're all looking for something, right? Either in the bar or the restaurant or wherever it is. But when they come by the Harinam, all of a sudden they just transform into a different mood, Like some people start dancing, they hear the drum, start dancing. There was this one little kid stopped and was just meditating on the Harinam, and the boy's father let him stand there for a while, and then finally pulled him away. And then he brought the kid back after a little while, and he said to the devotees that my son is saying that he can feel your love. And one of the devotees said, well, yeah, we can feel his too. So there's a transcendental reciprocation that takes place when Harinam Sankirtan goes out, because it's Lord Chaitanya's, it's his benediction on all the conditioned souls to be able to hear the holy name and make advancement in get purified, make advancement in devotional service, which means to get purified. It means to become cured from our disease, and that is this concept that I am this body, I can enjoy this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine. This is our difficulty, and Harinam Sankirtan is the medicine, taking Krishna Prasadam is the diet. Very quickly one can make advancement in devotional service, so that at the end of life one can go back home and back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So I wanted to ask you, you've all did one set, you have some realization, and I'd like to hear from you about what your realization was about, or is about distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. Can we start a little dialogue like that? Huh? Okay. And you don't have to feel in too much inhibition or anything. Just tell whatever your realization is from distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And who would like to start?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the beginning, Prabhuji, it seems very difficult, to think that I'll be able to even distribute one Bhagavatam. Felt like a huge task. At this time I'm talking about. Last time I had just sponsored and I had asked Narottam Prabhu to distribute on my behalf, and I had given it to the temple. But this time, everything fell into place very easily for me actually.
This time?
Yes, because in my house, Narottam Prabhu conducts Bhagavad Gita classes every Friday. So he taught so well that it barely took any effort on my behalf, speaking to all these attendees of the class and trying to convince them to take the Bhagavatam.
Oh.
So for me it was a kind of a piece of cake, because everything was done by Narottam Prabhu. He taught very well, so they were very conducive, they were very, very willing to accept the Bhagavatam. Just a couple of calls and a little bit of coaxing and it was done. So I'm very happy about that.
So that's a great method, is to have people begin hearing the philosophy, and then they become more conducive to taking a Bhagavatam. Okay, that's great. That's a good thing. What else?
Hare Krishna. So I am generally around the people who are like-minded with me, and I'm not used to being said no to. But when you're out there distributing books, it's like people are putting you into place, so you are not, some try to say you're not worth me, or basically they reject you, and then it makes you humble up to some extent.
Right. We don't like to get rejected. So we tend to keep with people that we know and we're comfortable with, and
Out of your comfort zone.
Right. So to go and meet people that you don't know, and they say, then you kind of feel pinched inside, right? That's natural. And even Krishna, when he was in Vrindavan with his cowherd boyfriends, they were all hungry. So Krishna told his cowherd boyfriends, you go to the Brahmins and ask them for some food. So they went there. And the Brahmin said, hey, you boys get out of here. We're doing the yajna here. Don't you see? We're busy. Go on. So they went back to Krishna, and they were a little disappointed because they couldn't bring anything back for Krishna to eat. And they were hungry themselves. So Krishna said, don't worry, that's the way of begging. You get rejected, it happens. And then they said, okay, go back and ask their wives. So they went back and asked the wives, and they got a good reception. They said, oh, Krishna and Balaram are hungry. Take. Right? And they satisfied Krishna and Balaram. Later on, the Brahmins realized their mistake, that their wives are more advanced than they were, in the sense that they recognized Krishna. What is the goal of performing Vedic sacrifices? Is to please the Supreme Lord. So here came the opportunity, but they were so busy in their ritual, they forgot the goal. Right? So doing book distribution, it keeps us fixed in that we are insignificant, small, living entities, very, very small. 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. That's small. I mean, that's really small. So we should realize our position, and by doing book distribution, approaching the conditioned souls, it'll help us to realize that. And it always helps, though, to, go to people that have already heard a little bit about the philosophy. Every time people hear, they get purified. They unload some of the burden of their upadhi by hearing this philosophy. And then it becomes easier for them to accept something like taking a book or this.
Another thing is that there are some people who are very happy to receive a book. So maybe they are going through problems in their lives, or they give them a solution. So that makes me re-realize the worth of Prabhupada's books.
Yeah, and that's the other end of the spectrum of being rejected, and the other side is being accepted. And so the rejection is what brings you bhakti. Don't think you're only looking for the acceptance. The rejectance also builds your faith in Krishna. The more you get rejected, the stronger you are in your Krishna consciousness, right? It builds your, your devotional fortitude. Like people take alfalfa tonic, to become strong, alfalfa tonic, right? So being rejected, when you're trying to serve Krishna, it builds your faith. It brings you to the platform of being fixed, right? Yeah, that kind of reminds me when I used to do Harinam Sankirtan in the city that I came from. And my father used to work downtown in the same place. And one day he walked by, and there I was, shaved head, dhoti. He didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. I just kept chanting, and he just kept walking. So it just puts us in a different realm, in a different place, the chanting and talking to people about Krishna and trying to get them to take a book.
So over a period of time when we read Prabhupada books, and especially his Leelamrit, Prabhupada Leelamrit, so the conviction increases so much. So now there's no fear to talk with anyone about books. So it is like with it.
They try to go. What you've learned by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, people try to read all these self-help books, how to win friends and influence people, Dale Carnegie, that was way back in the 40s or something. And there's been so many books, right? And people read them all together. But by practical experience, you go out there and you learn how to deal with all different kinds of people in trying to help them. And many of the modern business gurus, self-help gurus, like this one guy, Robin Sharma, and there's so many out there, they say that whatever you're doing in life, you have to feel that you're helping somebody in order to get satisfaction. Right? You're doing something to help people. And or any living entity, if people don't have anybody to help, they get a dog or a pet to help, right? Because that, in order to get satisfaction, you need that. So what better way is to help human beings in their journey to go back home, back to Godhead? That's what they're really looking for anyway, whether it's the Infinity Mall or whatever mall it is. They're out there, they're looking for Krishna, but they don't know it. They think that they're going to become happy through sense gratification. So just for a moment, we can take them off of that platform and put them on a transcendental platform by talking to them about the books. They're thinking about the books, they're thinking about Krishna. And it's like a revolution in their consciousness, even if it's only for a few moments. Lav matra, just for a moment, they're in touch with Krishna. And we are too. Hare Krishna.
Thing is that she spoke about rejection, that she faces rejection sometimes. And I'm in the phase of repeated rejection. Like it's going on for some time. We're trying to distribute more books and things. But it still is in that mode and it's not moving. So this is what, but as you said, the faith is increasing because as and how it's getting tougher, the faith is increasing. So I think I'll be able to convince better.
Well, we're getting this. We get this realization that, people may not take, but we don't understand why they. What are they doing that's so utterly enjoying that they don't want to try this? And they're trying so many things. So many new cereals come on the TV every day. Whether. And they're all the same thing, isn't it? Right? The bull fights with what do they call it? Shasha or Sashi or whatever. Shashuri. Yeah. And it's just a rehash of the same thing over and over. So they're just chewing the chewed, right? Punas charvita charvananham. And here we are giving them something that it's a whole world, right? If they read Srimad Bhagavatam, their whole consciousness will change. But, they have to have some pious credits in order to take it up. So we can leave them with something that if they're not ready to take, okay, then you just, take some prasadam. When I was in St. Louis recently, we were distributing lollipops. Actually, Prabhupada said you can offer them to the deities and you can pass them out on Sankirtan. So they only cost 2 cents. But we were passing them out like anything, And it was nice to see the little kids, they'll come up and they'll take a lollipop and 3 or 4 little kids take a lollipop and their parents are so happy that we gave their kids a lollipop. They're so happy, right? And then I would tell the parents, I said, and how about for you big kids? Oh yeah, we'll take one. So we'll leave them with something so that they can get that pious credit so they can go to the next step and take a book.
She spoke about rejection. I'm speaking of the joy that I felt, and especially today, because someone who I was speaking to I had a struggle conversation regarding Krishna and then about Srimad Bhagavatam, and then slowly just had small conversations over some time, and it culminated into the person coming to the temple today and accepting the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the thing is that when we were standing in front of Krishna's deity, and when it was accepted, we both, I myself felt a lot of joy, immense joy, which I never felt before. But when the person accepted, and the same joy I found from her, and both of us, we could relate, and Krishna was there, and we could understand that this is all his, he has brought us together, and this is why the book has gone to her. And she acknowledged that I've been trying so long, but yes, today he has made it possible for me to come here and accept it. And so the joy that I felt today,
right,
that and the other side of the positive side of
both are there. Both are required. Right, for making quick advancement in devotional service. Yeah. Others? One of the, yeah. What's your realization?
So I am.
We're all friends here, so you don't have to be shy.
So I've been distributing books, especially to the youth, because when I'm talking to a youth, I can relate to him, and I see that most of them are either smoking a cigarette or into
Smoking ganja.
maybe in the background, but not in front.
Oh.
Yeah, and when I go near them, and when they see me in dhoti kurta and tilak, they go a little behind. They are taken aback. But when we talk about Krishna and the philosophy, some of the youths are they are really, they feel like this has some substance.
Mm.
This has some substance. Most of them, they say that this is something new that I've come across. And then I tell them that this is not new, this is the old days.
Mm.
So,
That's
few of them take books.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Good.
the other ones don't. So that's.
Sure. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddha. Out of thousands, one may endeavor for that. So it's not so unusual to speak to a lot of people before one takes the book. That's good. Thank you. Others? Here, you can pick.
I feel book distribution is about striking a conversation and convincing someone. So it helps you a lot in your own devotional service and increasing your sadhana, because when you're going out, you need to know what you're going to be saying to the other person to convince him.
Mm.
So you tend to read it more carefully. Like Narottam Prabhu came with a brilliant idea before going for book distribution. We thought about reading those small books and discussing the important aspects of those small books. So that way you also get involved. So you're not only helping others, but you're also helping yourself by through book distribution.
Absolutely. When you have to repeat something that you read, you're reading with the idea that I'm going to repeat this, then your, understanding of it becomes much more clear, right? So that's an important point. If in our preaching to other people, we quote from Srila Prabhupada's books, what we read, that will become more fixed in our own heart, in our own understanding, our own consciousness. That's a very good point. Thank you. Anyone else?
My experience is, as you mentioned, everybody is looking for something. And there have been many times that people have directly come to you and said, oh, you have this particular book or something, I'm looking for yoga or meditation. And one of the best-selling books which I have seen, which is normally sold out in our people, is Finding Lost Happiness. So that's the title, and you can understand that people are actually looking for happiness, but the material happiness that they are actually getting is just temporary, and they want something new. So many times, if in case, I've experienced this myself, that Prabhupada books are like time bombs. So I got a Bhagavad Gita and I opened it after 4 years and I ended up here.
Oh, yeah.
So
How did you get your Gita?
When I was married, one of my friends, she gave me a Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
So,
Vidyadhan.
so there's a situation if a person...
After 4 years of marriage, you thought, God, I gotta... I'm just kidding, ladies.
His wife.
So, if there's a situation if the person is not able to say donate Lakshmi or something, I just give them, and I know that today or tomorrow that person will read it up.
Sure.
And it will explode.
Right.
So this is what I practice sometimes.
Good. Sure. Thank you.
realizing, who is the writing fruit, who will actually, interested in taking books. Many times, outwardly they seem to be not interested. So how we can be, at one point of time, we also not that, now right now also we are not qualified to read many deep philosophy, which HMS example and sort of like many books for Prabhupada. So how we can bring ourselves as ability and stop thinking on that he is not interested, rather approaching the opposite person and make him interested. So how we can stop thinking that he who is the right thing to do. Many times happens,
Yeah, we kind of get in this sankalpa vikalpa, and that's the activity of the mind, accepting and rejecting. So we think, oh, this one won't take, or this one will take. Being more in tune with Krishna, just seeing all living entities as parts and parcels of Krishna. Mamai Vamsa Jiva, everyone's Krishna's part and parcel. So if we try to stay fixed in that, as opposed to, oh, he will or he won't, or rather that, oh, here's the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And that will help us. But people give indications also. We have to be receptive to that. If their face is all wrinkled up, and you can get the idea. That all right, and why waste your time? And unripe fruit. They're completely kacha. So go and look for that. And in India, there's no dearth of people. The next one will be coming in 2 seconds. So you don't have to wait. Hare Krishna.
We are not going for regularly book distribution. Once in a while, when there's a drive, we just go and stand with other devotees and try to do it.
Okay, that's nice. It's been the rainy season, so the monthly Sankirtan festival's kind of been postponed, right? From October we'll start again, so you'll get those opportunities on at least once a month to get out there and talk to people. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna. We've been going for distribution regularly, so personally I have not been able to sell far too many books. So trying to help other devotees, supplying them kind of books and playing kirtans. So
Okay.
very bit of a part. Hopefully we should be able to sell books by ourselves.
Well, that's an important. So whatever part you play, it's not lesser or higher. It's all important. Whether you're distributing, helping with bring books to the devotees, or you're in the kirtan, or whatever you're doing, it's all bringing the same result, benefiting people and purifying our hearts. So it's great. Okay, well, these are fantastic realizations. It inspires me so much to hear from all of you about how you've become your realizations about book distribution. And this is what we're here to do, is to help other people and to be inspired and try to inspire other people, because we're all in the same boat. We're going to have to face death, old age, and disease. It's there for everybody, right? Whatever situation you're in. So how to face it? And that is by becoming attached to Krishna and developing love for Krishna. So we have to help each other do that. It's a community affair, and therefore it's the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, where devotees working together to help each other come to a higher platform of love for Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. They don't want to get up from the dream. They don't want to hear. They've got themselves talked into thinking that they're happy, right? With whatever they got, their toy or their car or their house or whatever it is. They're diverted for the time being from the reality. But one day they're going to have to wake up. You can divert a child's attention with a toy for some time, but not all the time. Eventually they get, rambunctious, and so in the same way, it's the materialistic mind thinks of various diversions, but then ultimately it also becomes frustrated with them because it doesn't really satisfy. So again, such persons who are, they're still asleep and they're pretending that they're happy, you don't have to waste a lot of time with them. Just go to the next person who's ready to wake up. Yes?
So a lot of people say we don't like to read, we don't know, we don't read anymore. So very often we say, yeah, there are videos as well, there are audios as well. So how do we tackle this? Because they are basically not interested, maybe. That's the kind of predominant thing on the mind.
Maybe we should keep some of that Prabhupada CDs with us and say, oh, you don't like to read? Well, I got the thing for you here. Prabhupada video. I mean, how much do they cost? They're not so expensive. 100 rupees. You can keep some, They have so many excuses for not taking. Nobody wants to surrender to Krishna. We don't even want to surrender to Krishna, most of the time. But we have some intelligence, some understanding that we should surrender to Krishna. But they don't have that. You can't blame them, right? But by coming in contact with you, you'll be surprised. They'll come in contact with other devotees. They'll get some pious credits for coming in contact with a devotee. Lord Chaitanya's movement, Harinam Sankirtan. And they'll get another opportunity. So it's not just a one-shot thing. Krishna sent them to you. They've made that initial contact. They've made that initial advancement in devotional service. And it doesn't end there. They'll get another opportunity. Although they may have their objections and whatever it is. But Krishna will wear them down because he's more powerful than their objections. It'll happen. There's nothing lost. Even if they didn't take a book, they thought up 101 excuses why not to take it. That change in their life is there anyway, by coming in contact with the devotees. So it's so important for the devotees to go out and come in contact with the people.
Another question is all the people who say we don't believe in God. They just look at you, they show the picture, they saw it, they had a conversation for half a minute or two, and but we don't believe in God. We just walk away.
Must be a lot of people like that.
At least I experienced one, so I was a little surprised. What do we say? What do we say to such people?
Well, you can't really get into a philosophical argument with somebody that's so stupid. What's the sense? They're pretty stupid. So, here, take a lollipop. Huh? I mean, what are you going to do? I don't believe in God. If you're out there and you try to be friendly and you try to be enthusiastic, then sometimes such people, even though they don't believe in God, but just by your personality, just by you being enthusiastic and you being pleasant with them, they can still, okay, give a donation. We're trying to, we're helping people. Give something to help. And they may kick in something. We're feeding cows, or, we're feeding the people. Can give something to help. Just to give them some, pious some credit, right? Whether it's a piece of prasada, this, that. That's your only business, is trying to help them, right? They've got themselves wound up in a kind of foolish situation, but still you can help them. Give them a mantra card. Tell them, here, chant this mantra. Maybe you'll get good luck. It's not God, it's a mantra. There's mantras. The snake charmers, they chant mantras that control snakes. Right? So here's one to bring you good luck. You've heard of that before, right? Snake charmers, they chant. Here's a mantra. Chant. So somehow engage them. Right? But even, they may take a book sometimes, give a donation. Just if you're friendly and enthusiastic about what you're doing. Anyone else? Yes.
So, I was thinking since last few days about reading book and hearing Prabhupada's class.
Yeah.
So I was thinking if I can, if hearing Prabhupada's class can be increased and the reading can be little increased, would that be fine, or what's your opinion on that?
Well,
Because
you want to decrease your reading and increase your hearing of the lectures on
this
on tape?
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, isn't it? Whether you're reading or whether you're hearing.
I was not aware.
Huh?
I was not aware about that. Now you are saying so it's the same thing.
It says reading is also like hearing. So if you're hearing, it's Krishna Katha. So it's the same thing. No problem. If you're reading or you're hearing, it's just as good. We're becoming purified. We're getting Sambandha Gyan, knowledge about our relationship with Krishna. We're hearing that Krishna is great. Many of Prabhupada's lectures about how great Krishna is, his energy and how it's working. So that when we get this understanding that Krishna is very great, the conclusion would be, I should do something to serve him. And that means bhakti. Because you can't serve Krishna unless you have some bhakti. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Only a few years back when we started encouraging devotees to go on book distribution.
Yeah.
So it was just trying to get them to go out.
Right.
Now over a period of time, most people in this room enthusiastically participate in book distribution. Wholeheartedly they will participate. They'll distribute books, they'll, as Pandar Prabhu said, they'll assist in the distribution of books. So now we're trying to inculcate this habit of reading Prabhupada's books every day.
Mm.
You just tell something about the benefits of reading every day and some tips on how they can read every day in a systematic manner, Srila Prabhupada's books.
Well, I think the first thing for reading in a systematic way is a fixed up time to read. You fix a time, and that's your time with the books, or it's your time with hearing, Prabhupada's lectures, or whatever lectures you're hearing. And so that's the most important thing, a fixed up time, where, and it should be a time when you're not distracted by other things, and it's just like people that do deity worship, it's at a fixed time, right? They know what they have to do and what to do and what time to do it. So they're there. In the same way with trying to read Srila Prabhupada's books, is we have a fixed time, and we do it every day on a regular basis. and then you'll see that you won't want to miss that. You'll feel something is missed out if you're not getting that. Prabhupada says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that just like if you don't eat, your body becomes weak. And you don't eat once a week. You eat every day to nourish the body. In the same way, we need spiritual nourishment, and therefore we need that hearing, whether it's reading or hearing. We need that. So on a fixed time, you go and you try to focus your consciousness on that reading. And this idea, if you have the idea that whatever I'm reading, I got to tell somebody else, that also helps you to absorb what you're reading better. Think that I got to tell somebody else. And if you actually do tell somebody else what you read, even if it's just a little bit, you remembered and you tell somebody else, that will help improve your memory, and it'll also help you fix in your consciousness with firm faith whatever it is that you read. Those are two good things that I can think of.
I have a question. For me personally, I prefer, like from school days, I used to read early in the morning. Now, since coming to Krishna Conscious, now we are switching to chanting. So previously, at least a year back, I used to read 1 hour in the morning and just do 1 hour of chanting. So I used to do 8 to 10 rounds in the morning, and then I used to start with my regular.
Right.
But later on, I realized the chanting was going bad, because during the daytime you cannot chant. So I started doing chanting as many rounds in the morning. So the reading went off, and the daytime reading is not good. So in this case, can I focus equally on both in the morning, or should I focus on chanting itself?
Yeah, some of both is good, Chanting in the morning, of course, like you said, the morning chanting can't be compared to any other chanting, in the day. Because in the morning it's kind of more in the mode of goodness. And then as the day goes on, the traffic starts and people start moving, and it's more in the mode of passion, right? As the day goes on. And then at night, the ignorance is, people start thinking about partying and this and that, mode of ignorance. When are the bars the busiest? Right? It's not in the morning, I'll tell you that. So, so in that morning time, it's more conducive, Brahmahurta, mode of goodness, and then it's easier to chant, but it's also easier to read, so you're right. So you need a mixture of both.
We participate in the talking to devotees in the Secret of Success seminar we hold every month. And Hare Krishna. So the Secret of Success seminar, a lot of people come. Maybe for the first time they hear about the philosophy. It's a 2-day seminar, 6 hours. They hear about the introduction to the philosophy, and they find it very well. So we read through the feedback forms. They are all very good. And a lot of them say that we want to come for weekly Bhagavad Gita classes, but of late, very few of them have been coming. So we end up calling about 50, 60 people, and maybe 5, 6 end up coming. So is there a way we can improve this conversion from Secret of Success to weekly classes for the first time attendees?
Oh, you get more people at the Secret of Success, and then it files down to, that's natural. It'll always be like that. But those 5 or 6, they're more ready to, go to the next stage. It's kind of like weeding out the persons that are not so interested, but they've also been benefited. But then obviously there's going to be fewer people that want to go to the next stage. So that's natural. You can't force people to do Krishna consciousness, break your leg if you don't become Krishna. It doesn't work. You have to be ready for it. And, they're out there. They are, Lord Chaitanya has his seeds planted everywhere. But you just have to go out there and if you start out with 60 people in the first class and you come up with 6, that's 10%. It's not too bad. Focus on the ones that have come and try to help them, right? We don't need to worry about having, a mass movement. It's for the class. And the class people are the ones that are, sufficiently ready to go to the next level. Yes?
While reading Prabhupada books, is it better to take one book at a time, finish it, and then go to the next book, or it's fine if we are reading 2-3 books simultaneously?
Well, I try to take a book and finish through it, But sometimes you're reading a book and it refers to some other, like you're reading the Bhagavatam and there's a Bhagavad Gita shloka that comes up, so you might want to go to the Gita, or there's a reference to the nectar of devotion in a book and you want to read that part. Well, there's no harm in that. When you're studying, you make reference from various books. But just so that you get that encouragement of having, started the book and you finish the book, that's also important too. That you can say, okay, I finished the Bhagavad Gita, right? Or I finished the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like, you climb the Himalayas or something. You accomplished. It's an accomplishment. It is, certainly is. To read the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. How many here have done it? Read the whole Srimad Bhagavatam?
Reading. Still reading, not
You're reading, not finished. How many? You read? You read the whole Bhagavatam? 11th canto, okay. Finish the first canto? Okay. Congratulations. Archana's done the whole thing, right? She finished the whole Bhagavatam. 1 year? 1 year she finished the whole Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? You're reading Bhagavatam? Okay, nice. First canto. Great. Srila Prabhupada said about the first canto, everything is there. Bhagavad Gita, and Nectar Devotion, and first canto of the Bhagavatam. It's enough for self-realization. It's enough for self-realization. But to embellish that, he's given so many other books also.
In the morning, what we hear the Bhagavatam, the temple one. Do we count that also as like kind of our realization?
Yeah, sure. It's part of your hearing.
From the 7th canto we have been there, 7, 8, 9.
To the class on the live. On the live on that. Okay.
We hear every day.
Oh, that's nice. Great. That's very good. Modern technology you can use in the service of Krishna. So that's good. From anywhere in Bombay or anywhere in the world, you can tune in and hear the class at Shri Shri Radha Rasbihari Mandir. Jai.